So this is Will and Veronica. They are local investors. They are friends of Nick Disney, and he thought that they would be somebody that you guys would like to meet and like to get to know their story. And so well, Nick really invited them, and so thank Nick. And yeah, why don't you guys go ahead and get started?
So we're Will and Veronica Pritchett, and we buy rental property in the San Antonio area. And we have 2 kids, and we've been doing this for about 10 years. We love rental property. That's our main focus. Veronica has her license, but it's primarily just in support of our business. And I'm a full-time firefighter. She's full-time runs our business. And it's been really great. We kind of gave Cassie some ideas of things that we could talk about. And a few of the ideas that she had were like how we balance family and running a business. Just to give you an idea of, we started with like turning our first house into rental, and then we gradually saved up and bought another one. And then we've done more creative strategies in the years since. Real estate bought us a lot of freedom. It bought Veronica away out of her career that was a really good career, but it kept her away from our family a lot. And now we get to spend a lot of time together. In fact, we're sitting outside of our daughter's dance lessons right now. So it bought us a lot of freedom. And I think that's what we like to convey to people. We also didn't have a lot of money starting out, so we had to use creative strategies and to build up our portfolio. But we really enjoy it. Would you like to add something to our story?
Sure. Like Will said, I'm Veronica Pritchett. I was able to quit my job about 3 years ago and do this full time. I was an assistant principal at a large comprehensive high school here in San Antonio, and I loved my job until I became a mom, and then I started resenting the time away from family. But at the same time, Will and I had started buying rentals just to supplement retirement. He's a firefighter. I was in education. And so we really had jobs that we enjoyed, and we were very much the traditional route, just putting away money the old-fashioned way into 401ks, et cetera. But then Will always was interested in real estate. So we turned, like he said, his first house into our first rental, and then bought another one after that. After that was a really positive experience. We were discouraged a lot about having rentals, and we heard all the horror stories. And I'm actually teaching a class at the end of the month through the brokerage that I'm with. It's tenants, termites, and toilets, right? Because it's what discourages people. Everyone hears those stories, but we haven't found that to be the case at all. We have systems in place that help facilitate us having this portfolio and having these rentals and making it enjoyable. And for me, people say it's passive income, and for me, it's as passive as it gets. And still be able. To me, it's insane how we could really stop working, and it's still, the net worth still grows by principal pay down and appreciation, especially here in San Antonio, Texas. Appreciation is crazy. Well, I guess around the country, but here we're experiencing some significant appreciation right now.
You mentioned doing some creative financing. So maybe talking a little bit about that and some of the different ways that you finance deals, because you guys have quite a large portfolio at this point. So I'm certain that you do that in many different ways.
Yeah, I'll start it off, and then Will can, this is his subject, but what I want to start off saying is that we started the very traditional route. We didn't know there could be any kind of creative way to finance these. So we saved every single penny we had, and we put down 20% on our first rental. And then we found out about the burst strategy and the power of private money. And so Will's really good at attracting private money. So
yeah,
explain that.
Well, I think it was kind of ironic. We were trying to buy our freedom or create a nest egg, and to do it, I had to work overtime. She was on the salary, but I could work overtime. So to try to get more time together, we had more time apart for a while. I was putting in long hours, and long hours as a firefighter is usually 2 or 3 days straight, and maybe a day home, and then 2 or 3 days. So I was away a lot. all in an effort to try to be home more. And so I think one thing that I keep learning in my life is sometimes if you suck it up for a short period of time, you can relax for a longer time or enjoy things more. So we delayed some gratification early on, and we saved up those 20% down payments, and it took forever. So luckily, after about 3 deals, we found out about private money, but we still didn't know how to approach someone. But we were always talking about real estate, like we still do. We're passionate about it. So in talking about it, someone at church heard what we were doing, and they had lost a bunch of money investing in a movie of all things. And they're like, man, real estate sounds more appealing. Tell us about that. And before we knew it, they were willing to lend on our deal. A few lessons that I learned with that first one, we didn't really have a ton of confidence. We were like 3 deals in, and we decided we would borrow less than the purchase price. And it was a wholesale property, and we would use savings to pay for the renovations. The craziest thing was we paid them 10% interest only payments for about 7 months. And when we paid them off, they texted us right away and they said, go find another one of those, because they liked getting that return. And I couldn't believe it that they were asking to give us more money. And that was when my mindset shifted. And instead of being us asking for something, I realized we're offering them something. We're offering something the movie didn't offer. We have collateral. They have collateral on their loan. And it was a mind shift. We felt extremely responsible for their money, but we knew that in a worst case scenario, we could pay the mortgage. We could figure out a way to get through the deal, even if we made mistakes. And we're always going to make mistakes. So we did another one. And the next time I asked for the full purchase price plus the renovation money, and they didn't bat an eye. So I think one of my big lessons is the people that are doing these loans for us are investing as much in us as in the deal. So your reputation of being a person of your word and having some experience, it's hard when you don't have a lot of experience, but there are ways to get over that hurdle as well. Some of the ways would be to put more of your own money into a deal, because the lower that loan to value is for the lender, the better your probability of them wanting to do the deal. It's lower risk. The other is to partner with someone with experience. And so you kind of borrow their experience. Finding really deeply discounted properties. I do believe that if you find a cheap enough house, someone is going to bring the money. If you have a good enough deal. We all know that's hard right now in the market, but they still exist. So getting really deeply discounted properties is another way that you can lower that loan to value. And then after using private money, we would go refinance and get a long-term mortgage. Started with conventional loans, later got into commercial loans. Then seller financing. We've had a couple seller financing deals. I think a lot of people that are marketing for leads don't fully explore the options of seller financing. And in some cases, we've been able to offer someone closer to their price, but with our terms. And you've probably heard that before. I'll pay your price at my terms. We paid near asking price for a property, but we negotiated 0% interest. That's like free money, literally, So while he was comfortable doing that for 4 years, so we just upped our principal payment so we could take advantage of that 0% money and are paying it down rapidly. We've done that twice now, where we've gotten 0% money for some period of time through the seller financing. So I think another lesson might be to really listen to the people you're talking to if you get the opportunity to talk directly to sellers, and hear what their challenges are. It's not always the price. Sometimes it's taxes. There's other ramifications. So the more that you understand about how a big sale could affect them, you might be able to educate them a little bit and say, hey, if I pay you cash at $100,000, this is going to be the tax effect it might have. And you might be benefited by taking payments over a period of time. And the more you know, and you can educate your seller, sometimes they prefer to take payments for the tax reasons alone. And maybe they like the stream of income they were getting from rent, but we're tired of maintaining a property and handling the headaches. So you might be able to take that off their hands. Those are a few ideas that come to mind about creative financing.
we usually give multiple offers to the same seller. So this is our cash offer. But if you own or finance it, we could, get closer to your asking price. So that's worked out well, just giving them options. And that's what I don't know, people sometimes just get stuck on price. And if you do the math, it ends up being the same money or even a better situation if they're willing to finance it at 0%.
How do you find the sellers or the deals?
We've done a lot of different methods, from wholesalers. We've bought from wholesalers. We have bought off the market, off MLS. We've knocked on doors around houses we were renovating. That led to at least one deal. We've told everybody in our network what we do, and we talk about it a lot. So people have come to us. We've had realtors who've brought us deals that weren't fit for the market. They weren't ready for the market. And they just said, hey, my seller would just like to get rid of this property. Would you like to talk to them? We did, and we made a deal a couple times. When that happens, we pay the realtor a referral fee just for connecting us and letting us negotiate the deal. We network like crazy. So the reason those realtors know of us is that we go to Alamo City and we go to these meetups, local meetups, and people at least know that we're looking. Not everybody wants to buy and hold rentals, and we understand that. But I think we want everybody to know that we buy rentals. We love rentals. And so when we're done talking today, I hope you remember Will and Veronica, they love rentals. And that means if you have a question about rentals, we can help you. But it also means if somebody, thinks, oh, I got this deal, I want to wholesale, maybe Will and Veronica would be interested. We've paid wholesale fees up to $20,000, which seems ridiculous, but the deal still worked for us. And the wholesaler earned every penny by finding the deal. This market's super hot. We've bought 2 properties off market this year off the MLS. They were on market deals this year, but they were kind of in outskirt areas, and they were kind of obscure properties that other people weren't interested in. So that has worked.
But back on market, whenever they pop back on market on MLS, they rode that emotional roller coaster where the seller thought it was sold and then it came back on market. So as soon as it comes back on market, that's when it's the best time to make a cash offers. They're just done, and they're back on market usually because the financing fell through. There's something wrong with the property, or so whatever it may be. The market is insane, and so there's a lot of properties that go back on market because they're just not appraising at what they're going under contract for. So that's an opportunity. So we started definitely off of MLS, then we bought from wholesalers for a while, and then it's just constantly being present, like Will said. So now it's we pay those referral fees, and but I would say it's our network at this point. People just know that we love to buy real estate, and so if they bring us a deal, they're at least all they have to do is say so and so is thinking about selling, and if we close on it, they get a referral fee. So it's worked out nicely.
Again, letting everyone know what you're looking for in your network. I tell people that I think social media is like the modern resume. So if you go look at a house, take some pictures and make a post about it, make a comment, something you learned. Then people see you recurring on their feed of, hey, so-and-so's looking at properties. They know something about this, or even an article you want to share, maybe a link to these YouTube videos, things that would help people in your network. And they'll remember that that's what you're doing. I was, being a firefighter, I have a network of firefighters. So a lot of them are on my Facebook, and that's kind of our main network of social media. And we were at a car accident the other day. And after they cut the victim out of the car, sent him to the hospital, these guys come up to me and they're like, hey, I'm looking at this rental property. And they're asking real estate questions, which was like a major win for me, because I'm like, okay, they see me as the real estate guy. But I'm like, well, this might not be the right venue, like on the side of 1604, the highway, while traffic's backed up. So we moved the conversation. But I think it's a good thing when people come up to you and ask you questions about real estate. Nick, who invited us tonight, we call him with questions, and he's given us advice. And that network's so valuable to have these people that freely share information. We were amazed with how much people would freely share in this real estate world. it seemed like they were sharing secrets with us, but I think most have that abundance mindset that there's plenty of deals for all of us, and let's help each other out. And it's the network's been the number one most important thing to us. And as far as when you get to talk directly to sellers, I think being honest and trustworthy is super important. I say I'm the world's worst salesperson. Veronica doesn't really like me to go show rentals because I'll point out the flaws in the house, and she's like, no, point out the open floor plan. And I'm like, well, there's this little crack. And so I'm a terrible salesperson. But what we do is we're honest with people, and we'll tell them their options. We'll say, here's our cash price. Here's our seller financing if you want to carry financing. And if you want to fix the house up and go sell through a realtor, you might make more. It might take a little longer, but that might be your best exit. We'll give them options. And more than once, I would say most of our sellers have come back to us after a period of time. So we thought the deal was off. They went and looked at other options. They didn't feel comfortable, or the people were retrading or renegotiating. And they later came back and we'd say, why did you sell to us? And they'd say, we just trusted you. We trusted that you weren't, scammers. You were going to do what you said. And that's really paid off big for us, I think. Is not being pressure salespeople, but just giving them, they know there's different options out there. And so that you're not hiding anything from them. When we've had the best deals, we were able to hear what their real motivation was, what the real problem we could help them solve might be. And I think that's what's paid off most when we can talk directly to sellers.
If you don't mind me asking, because it kind of sounds like your acquisition has kind of been on a hockey stick here. How quickly did you get going over the 10 years? Like how many deals per year?
That's a really good question.
Go ahead.
It started off really slow. Like I said, we thought, we'll buy, our goal was 10 houses, and we thought we'll buy one a year, because it took, we're buying the traditional route and saving every penny. And so buying one a year was a stretch to save that 20% down. We thought this is going to take forever. So then once we found the burst strategy and the power of private money, then it started to really grow. So I guess we bought we turned our first one into a rental, and then we bought our second one 2 years later. And then we were on a podcast, a rental income podcast 2.5 years ago. This was kind of cool because that was to see our growth. So that we had 11 rentals then. And now just 2 years later, we're at 22. So it really just, in the last couple of years is when we really started, I guess last 4 years, right? It really started to move quickly.
Yeah, it really did.
But again, it was with the burst strategy, it's using very little capital, and that's how we were able to grow a lot faster. Tomorrow
we'll close on another deal, which will be our biggest deal to date, which is kind of exciting. But I think our confidence grew as we went through this also. But we had people discourage us along the way, and we just stuck with it. We just felt this was the way for us, and we didn't get distracted by other strategies. And it's just become our thing, has been rentals. But yeah, the biggest growth would be the last 4 years for sure. I'm a big book reader, and I consume a lot of books and podcasts, and Veronica's like, well, let's just go take action. We'll learn as we go. And so we balance each other out that way. I think you can analyze too long, and that might've been my tendency, or you can act, impulsively.
And by the wrong deals.
Not that she would ever be impulsive, but she's very optimistic about what she sees in a property and the potential. And I tend to be more cautious. So.
Oh yeah. Well, with the baby, Elena, she was asleep in the car, and, he walked into a house, and we're taking turns because she's asleep in the car. And so he goes in, and he's like, oh, it's not even worth looking at. It's not a deal. And then I go in there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I see all the potential. So we meet in the middle.
That's funny because my husband and I are the exact same way.
Really?
What was your biggest hurdle or your biggest challenge in year 1 or year 2, at the beginning of your investing journey? And then what is your biggest challenge at this point in your career?
Oh, that's a good one.
I think getting started, it seems, I'll answer my version, I guess, is that it seems so slow and oh man, well, this is not going anywhere. a few $100s a month in cash flow and then a little repair. And it was discouraging in the speed, I guess, but we just knew it would work. We just had faith in the process. We'd heard too many people where it had worked. And we had a net worth, I think, of about zero, not much more than zero 10 years ago when we got married. And I mean, it's just to be honest, like if you take debts and you know how to figure that calculation, and then it grew more than we thought it would, but it was the power of using other people's money and finding value or creating value by buying at a discount, buying something that needed work and fixing it up, and basically creating equity in each and every deal. And then time makes mediocre deals a lot better because they appreciate and the debt gets paid down. And so deals, we were listening to Bigger Pockets when we started, and we're saying, man, these people are in these home run deals. Our deals aren't that good, but the deals that we thought were base hits then, we couldn't touch today for that price. So it's not a fast path to wealth, but it's a almost, I don't want to say it's a certain path to wealth, but it works. I can say that. But it takes patience. And so if you need quick money, there's other great things in the industry like wholesaling and flipping and, other ways to generate more cash now. But we were able to see, like we were planting little seeds and we'd watch them grow. So I think for me, the patience with the slowness of it at first. And then now I'd say the biggest challenge is deal flow. We've reached a point at which private money's become more available as we've done it longer, and our rates that we're paying are coming down. I think we're seen as less of a risk, so that's nice. But finding enough deals to occupy that money is the hardest part in this phase of the market. If we were hitting this level of confidence back in 2015 or something, I think we'd be in a great position to capitalize. But that's not the market we find ourselves in. So we've got to be cautious and buy well, buy right. Don't get wooed by having too much money available and buy bad deals. So I guess deal flow would be the toughest part for me at this point in our business. What about you?
I think at the beginning it was, just that mindset, just getting over, we were so stuck on one area because that's what we knew. We were going to stay in the northwest side of town because it was a good school district and 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And we were so stuck, so like focused. And so that was, so I think that, I guess, prevented us from growing a little faster at the beginning. But at the same time, it was a great way to learn too. We staying so focused, we were able to learn a lot about that market. So we were able to move quickly in that area. And so we were able to acquire more rentals in that area. But now we're looking everywhere, right? So now so just getting to that comfort level of being open to different asset classes. I think the shiny objects syndrome too was kind of a challenge at the beginning. And we have one property that we own or finance. And there's so many different ways to go in real estate that it's tempting, right? We've done some flips, we do some private lending, we do different things. But so it's always coming back to why did we get into this to begin with? And for me, I really liked my job, but I didn't like how much time it took. So we're very cautious, even though Will says deal flow. I'm very comfortable with our deal flow right now because, to me, the most valuable thing in my life is time. You can't get that back. And just our kids are ages 9 and 14 now. And, it's just I really want to be present for those formative years. So I just being really cautious, I guess, about our time and how it's spent. And we love real estate. It's super fun. We just want to make sure that it doesn't take over our lives also, which it can easily do. The biggest challenge for me was transitioning from having my job where I was able to go to an office and they set my time, I could leave at 5 and then I was able to leave work at work. And then when I transitioned into now I have complete control of my time, then it was really hard to really learn how to manage that. So I was working every single day. I didn't really have a good control over that because I didn't want to pass up a deal, or I didn't want to have a vacancy for too long, or, I feel like that was costing us money. So learning to time block, learning to prioritize, to align, make sure that our time spent is aligned with our values is a constant challenge because I love this. And, I could dedicate every minute to it, but then it starts to get a little bit off balance. So it's just making sure to continue to inventory our time. So if it means we lose a deal, then we lose a deal. You know, if it means we have a little bit longer vacancy, we have a little bit longer vacancy. And so it took me a while to get there, but it's definitely makes it a lot more enjoyable. So I guess maybe enjoying the whole process, enjoying the journey. So now I feel like I have a pretty good system in place and my time blocking, and I'm pretty good about, you know, scheduling time. So I think that's probably for me, has been my challenge.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question, is how you balance, you know, career. And I guess, Will, maybe you can answer in your words, like, how do you balance, you still have your career and the kids and investing, and it just kind of, I mean, it feels like a lot. So how do you navigate that?
Well, the kids are pretty cute, so they help us negotiate. We take them to to deals, to houses, and they walk houses. My son he's got a good eye for potential in properties. Our daughter can judge the level of a floor walking it. You know, they've looked at enough houses now, but we try to incorporate them as much as we can. We do think that there's an importance in modeling, you know, work. We don't want them to think that things just come without work. So we incorporate them when we can. My job, I work 24-hour shifts. So Veronica's got to be the single parent for 24 hours and run the business and do all of being a parent that it entails by herself while I'm away. So I try to use my time off efficiently, but I love this stuff. Like, I don't fish as much as I probably would like to, but I like real estate so much that it's kind of become a hobby. So I look forward to going and looking at houses. I look forward to meeting Nick to look at a project he's working on, talking to people about real estate. I love helping newbies learn and get the confidence that they can do this, because we were right there. And 10 years sounds like a long time, but it feels like yesterday. And we didn't have anything. And so I love helping people with it. So I spend a lot of my time off talking to people and, you know, helping them maybe think through ways to structure a deal. But it is a challenge. You do have to protect that time with family. In the afternoons when our kids get home, we try to pretty much be present as parents and work hard when the kids are in school, or like our daughter's in dance right now. Our son doesn't mind because he's in the backseat playing a game. But, you know, you got to be flexible and use technology like this is awesome, a cool way to network without having to all be in the same place. But I don't know if there's a right answer. I just know that I couldn't do it by myself. Veronica handles so much of it. At this point, it would be hard if we were both full-time in other careers. I think we could manage what we have, but it would be hard to keep growing, I think, if we were both full-time. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, it absolutely does. So do you find, Veronica, that you're able to manage all, I'm assuming you self-manage, correct?
Right, we do. Yes.
Do you feel like you're almost at a level where you need to hire help with that, or do you feel like it's pretty manageable?
I feel right now it's very manageable. Once I get the tenant in place, it's very manageable. We have really good systems. They call the contractor directly, and I go through this whole training, but filling the vacancy does take work. And so it's just getting the right person in there. So it just depends on how much I have going on. If I have multiple projects, then I have a friend that is an agent, and she'll list it for me, and I still do the screening process. But so it's learning to I guess hire out what I can when appropriate for now. So it's inventorying my time. So it's how much of my time do I spend growing our business, and how much do I spend managing the business? And so I want to make sure that the majority of my time spent working is growing the business. So I was really just literally inventorying my time, and I realized I was spending a lot of time on our books, for example. And I thought, well, this is crazy. This is not going to grow our business. Books are important because we need good financial statements for our lenders, and we sit down and have our meetings and evaluate each property and see how each property is performing, and see if there's what we can do with that equity, et cetera. So books are important, but I don't have to do it. So we hired a bookkeeper. And so outsourcing what we can on the things that don't really help grow our business. And then we read, was it 4 Disciplines of Execution? And so we have our lead measures, and we want, you know, to reach our goals. It's a really good book that I recommend. It's been really good for me. You know, I get up, you know, at 5 and I do my whole routine. I get the kids to school and then I get to work. And so before I would like start with just tasks, right? Like email and just getting through all the tasks. That the whirlwind is what the book calls it. And the whirlwind is going to happen no matter what, but the whirlwind is not going to help us move the needle forward. What's going to help us move the needle forward is analyzing the deals, making those offers. So that's what I spend the first part of my day doing. So we make offers every single week, you know, and then competition drives me. Like I'm, you know, it's motivating to me. It's not so much for Will. And so we have this book talks about the scorecard. And so I bought this big whiteboard and I put all these columns and I put color coded it, you know, Will's blue and I'm green. And then we're supposed to tally who made how many offers each week. And, you know, and so then we have our weekly meeting on Tuesdays and I'm excited because I've already like made all these offers this week. And then Will didn't make any offers, you know? And so I'm like, oh yeah, I won this competition, you know? And so I can't wait for our meeting. And I'm like, so our lead measure with our offers. And he was like, wow, good job. You did so well. I was like, oh, great. Like, I need somebody else to compete with. It didn't work. So it's finding what motivates you. And, but still for me, then I compete with myself. And, you know, it's something I committed to. So I know, so my point is inventorying my time to make sure that my time is spent on growing our business and not so much managing, because the whirlwind's going to happen. That whatever, you know, is like we have a closing tomorrow and I still need to finish out some paperwork, but you know what, it's going to get done. It, you know, the whirlwind happens, but it's making sure that we're still making those contacts, building those relationships, making those offers, analyzing all those deals and, you know, ideas on how to grow our business. That's where the majority of my time needs to be spent. And if I'm not doing that, that means either I need to automate whatever it is that's keeping me from it, or I need to hire it out, outsource it somehow.
It sounds like maybe you and I need the whiteboard because we're the competitive ones and we're married to people who are not competitive at all for some reason.
I need that.
So anyway, I'm going to be sending out an email to like all my investor clients just with those photos and with the comps and the information. So if that's something you're interested in, look out for an email, and Will and Veronica, I'll send it your way as well. Cool. Since, you know, you are the people who do rentals.
Yeah, absolutely. We are. And yeah, if we can help anybody, we're on Facebook, Will and Veronica Pritchett, and then Home Again Properties. We try to post what we're learning along the way and stories, and we got a blog that we write and stuff. So if any of that's helpful for you, reach out to us and ask us questions, or if you want to be on the blog list, send it to it. Send me your email address. I'll be happy to send them out to you guys. And we're just writing stories about what we're learning as we go to try to help save people some of the same mistakes maybe, or find some shortcuts. So I'd love to see Ben's property and his deal as well.
Yeah, it's homeagainsa, right? .com/blog.
Homeagainsa.com.
Is our website, and then the blog /blog, and Will and our 14-year-old son have a competition on who has the most subscribers. So
and he's way cuter than me, so he's beating me.
I'll put all of that information in the email that my assistant sends out tomorrow. And then in the YouTube video comments or description,
cool.
I'll put that so you guys can just find them there. And this has been really, really fun. I'm so glad you guys came. That was awesome to listen to your story and to get your perspective. You know, a lot of these guys are from out of state, and so I always tell them, like, you know, you can ask me a question, but you should also go ask somebody else, because my opinion and their opinion might not match. And, you know, It's always good to have different perspectives. So I'm really, really thankful for you guys coming on tonight. And let us know.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, thank you for having
Yes,
us,
thank
and
you.
thank you to Nick for inviting us. It's really been cool. Some great questions, and we'll be tuning back in to hear more from you guys. And if we can help anybody, let us know. It was nice to meet you all.
Yes, a lot of fun. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
My pleasure, Nick.
Much.
All right. Well, y'all have a good couple weeks. I'll see you back here in mid-April.